It's all about the macro productions.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him.
Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guard.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Mumbai Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles in Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin or Rumble or listening, wherever podcasters serve, thanks a million. We appreciate the support. We couldn't do it without you. Our sponsors make this show happen, and if you are so inclined, we'd love for you to go check it out, see what you think. Chemical Free Body's been with us since the beginning. They make fantastic supplements that actually work. Green 85 is a part of my daily routine. Green 85, I can't even escape it. I'm now here at my mother's house, and I sent her Green 85, and she's got it in her pantry. So it's here even when I'm not at home. It still seems to find me. So if you're looking for something along those lines, supplements that actually work, chemicalfreebody.com is a good place to go, and you can use the discount code MACRO on your way out to save some money. And also, thanks to the folks at Legal Shield who've been doing this for 50 years in the United States and Canada. Get you access to an attorney in your area for very, very reasonable price. It's $1 a day. It's $30 a month. We'll get you in an association with Legal Shield. You get an app on your phone. Just punch a couple buttons and tell them what you need done. You need a last will and testament, a medical directive, financial power of attorney. All these things are all there. You got to have them if you're an adult. You got to have those documents put away in your safe somewhere, but nobody wants to spend a couple $1,000. So if you are a member of Legal Shield, my suggestion, take care of that in the first month. Don't be crazy. Just for $30, knock that stuff out. You got it. If you decide this membership isn't for you after something like that, that's fine. You do whatever you need to do. But I'll tell you what you'll find is that this is extremely useful. You'll get a lot of mileage out of it. So go to the website that they built specifically for us, www.don'tgetpushedaround.com, and see what you think. If you run a small business or you carry a gun, something like that, they have documentation for you. You might want to take a look and check it out. So don'tgetpushedaround.com is the place to go to find out everything there is to know about Legal Shield. Well, I'm excited to have Frank back. Frank's back, everybody. Hello to Frank Valbiro, host of QuiteFrankly.tv. Hello, Frank. Good to see you.
Hello, my friend. How's everything been?
Everything has been weird, but I'll tell you what isn't weird was this summer. It was great to do the book club again with you. Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. It makes me smile just thinking about how we spent our virtually apart from one another, of course, but our Junes reading and then discussing this classic book from 100 years ago. What was the audience's response to that over the weeks after we got done doing that?
Oh, they loved it. I even insisted that my father and my brother read it. My brother's still like halfway through. I'm trying to get people reading again. Doing my little part. But my father, he got in touch with me and said, this book destroyed me. And I knew it probably would. And it's just one of those things, like you said, yeah, it's 100 years ago. But when you write about something true and something that really cuts to the core of what it is to be a human being, it doesn't matter if it's a story about, a coming of age story in the summertime and being around your family and contemplating the passage of time and the passage of people and everything else. It doesn't matter what era it was written in, it'll always be true. And I was so excited to do that with you. And just as a testament to the kind of theme of the book, here we are now a third of the way through September. And I miss June of 2024 so very much. Yeah. The lead up to 4th of July, having that still be in the future. It was just great. Getting together, talking about this stuff. That's just what it is, man. It was a good summer despite everything else going on around in the world. It's really up to us to make our little living spaces our little slices of heaven, because if we wait for everything else to be right, we're screwed.
Yeah, for sure. And we're reading that book, and one of the main characters in the book is turning 12. It's the first day of summer. I have a 12-year-old daughter. It was the first day of summer. Right when we were starting off that book, we were starting it just coincidentally about the same time that it was happening in their lives. School's ending, summer's beginning, they're making these big plans. There's a scene in that, and you're right, I miss June of 2024 too, because that was before I knew what I was up against in my own personal life here with my mother. There's a scene in that book that you and I spent a lot of time on, the time machine, right? Where the Colonel builds a time machine and the kids say, hey, you want to see a time machine? And this is 1924, right? This is a long time ago, 1928, I guess.
28, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're talking, what kind of time machine could you build back then? Well, it wasn't an actual time machine. It turned out it was this old man who had been in the Civil War and had been around the block and had been in some battles, and they would go and talk to him. And he would tell these stories about what he had done when he was younger and his time in the Civil War and his time in some of the battles after that. And that's when it occurred to this is a time machine. We're going back and we're hearing these stories that once he's gone, they're not anchored in reality anymore. I mean, he takes that with him. And I had a moment here, Frank, where I was sitting on the couch with my mom, and she's really sick, and she's telling me these stories about when she was a Pan Am flight attendant, and I've heard them a million times. And what had occurred to me was that I was in the time machine at that moment. I was in her time machine listening to these stories, trying to grab as much information as I can, because I know that when she's gone, that time machine is gone as well. So I'm trying to grab as much information and drag it back into my little reality. These memories that weren't my memories, but were her memories, I'm trying to make sure that they don't end when the time machine goes away.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of that there. And it tied into something else too, the time machine, because even the end of the Colonel's life, what was his name? Colonel Freely? Mm-hmm. He was the time machine. He was, I think in his 90s or approaching that at least. And he really loved those visits from the kids of the neighborhood who come and ask him those questions. And you start realizing that, this is a way we are all time travelers in one way or another. And our memory is a way of being able to traverse time and to make it real again, because we can re-experience. Well, there's something very unique about human beings. There's plenty that's unique about us, but the one thing that's really unique about us is that we can relive triumph, misery, whenever the hell we want. It's not just about seeing imagery in our heads and knowing what happened at a certain time in the past. We actually feel the stuff again. Like, it's a full sensory experience. And that's, that was a very big thing there. That and the whole concept of happiness machines. Mm-hmm. The idea that you make something that can simulate happiness, and really how close to authentic is that experience going to be, and what Pandora's box has opened up, almost like the monkey's paw. I'm going to be reading The Monkey's Paw for my approach to the book club in October. I'm not going to be doing one book for the whole month. I said I'm going to do 4 short stories throughout the month now. And one of them is The Monkey's Paw. If you want to come on for one of them, by the way,
sure.
It's just going to be short story, one night, one and done for 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to. Count me in.
Dude, I mean, you let me know. There's Most Dangerous Game, Mask of the Red Death, Monkey's Paw, and The Swimmer by John Cheever. I'll give you first dibs right now because I haven't signed anybody else on yet.
I'm unfamiliar with all of them.
Really?
Yep.
The Monkey's Paw.
I've heard of it, but I haven't.
It's an oldie.
Let's do that one. I'll do that one. Monkey's
Sounds
Paw.
good. Anyway, it's about getting 3 wishes. It's about getting 3 this magical monkey's paw show, almost like a rabbit foot.
Yeah.
And you get 3 wishes, and you start realizing that with every wish, there's something that has to be paid, and you're paying for each wish. You know, and the same thing with the happiness machine. You saw somebody trying to make everything in life perfect, and the more that it happened, the more sadness you bring out because it's reminding somebody, I really feel like I'm in Paris right now. And then you realize, just like with the metaverse, it's a completely empty experience, and that all that's being done to you is that your mind is being put in places that you may never go to. And it almost shames you into you're never going to be there. And it makes you think that, these people over there are having such a better time and I'm stuck where I am. And it's really just the experience of us living in the social media world too, like going on Instagram and seeing everybody on their vacations. You think that their lives are perfect. And meanwhile, it's really the little things in life. It's the tiny things that are the most important things. Your time on the couch with mom. Those a trip to Paris doesn't mean dick compared to that.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
But we are tricked into thinking that those materialist kind of things are really all it is. And you know, and that's why when some people with the book club in particular, just like, hey, can we read the biography of so and so, or how about a book on, you know, this part of World War II? And I'm like, no, there's a reason why we do fiction. There's a reason why we do fiction, and this is the reason. It's I don't know. There's so much more to be dug up there, and it makes you think, and it puts connections together that you may not have seen anywhere else.
How interesting was it that this fictional book that took place 100 years ago foretold of a lot of technological advancements that we were experiencing? We were laughing about the happiness machine. Sort of the backstory for this is that this guy decides he's building a happiness machine in his garage, and you know, it's going to simulate Paris. And so, but you know, the magazine, the pictures of Paris, and then the perfume spray and the this and that. And in the end, the irony of it all was that it made everybody sad because everybody was like, well, I'm never going to go to Paris. I'm never going to have these experiences. You're showing me these
the
experiences.
Pyramids.
I don't feel happy. I feel like a bit unsettled that I'll never see it and that everyone else, you know, and so there was that, which definitely had social media components to it, right? There was what else?
EVs.
Oh yeah, electric vehicles. They bet there was an electric vehicle in this. These ladies had built, it was like sort of like a souped up golf cart that they had driven around town, and they were having some of the same problems that EVs have with charging and, you know, being a little too noticeable. They accidentally run a guy over,
crashing.
They run into some poor bastard who's just on the corner, you know, and so it was a great book. It brought back a lot of these ideas of being a kid and how important that is when you're young, and to have these, maybe it's gone a little bit of ways these days, but the idea of, like, you know, on your bikes all day long during summer with your friends, you come back home when the street lights come on, that sort of stuff, or maybe even later, you forget to eat lunch because you're so busy building forts. All of that drives this book. These kids are having the most amazing summer, and then they do something that's sort of interesting, and I think we all do in some kind of ways. They try to bottle it up and keep it as long as they can. And they find that you can bottle dandelion wine, which is, of course, the name of this book, but you can't bottle up the summer of 1928, or in our case, the summer of 2024, as much as we would love to.
Yeah. Yes. And And that's really it. The ability. I love there was the symbolism of the dandelion wine. Of course, there was just the idea that dandelions are very, very healthy health modalities for people. It can be made into a salad. It could also be pressed into an oil. It can be steeped into a tea. It's very detoxifying, all that stuff. But the fact that this had become a symbolism, a symbol of being able to actually make a vintage out of each summer that you can go by and have a year bottled up, and to have them in your basement, and you can go back to it. And there's a physical relic of something that is otherwise very ethereal. And just being, growing up, saying goodbye to people, dealing with loss and change, and it's just relentless, the passage of time. And I don't know, man, it's these are the kinds of things, these are the kinds of emotional reactions I don't get out of reading the news every day. The news, I feel like I'm drinking bleach every day, and that's why I beg people, read with us, or do it on your own, whatever the hell it is. We've got to break our addiction. I know how bad it, ignoring the 9,000-pound gorilla that is the state of the world is not the solution either. But I mean, we can't keep drinking the Clorox like this, and we do it constantly.
Yeah.
This week's going to be no different. I mean, tomorrow, is it really a debate we're going to be watching? No, we're watching some kind of a fucking, oh my God, what the hell are we?
I know. It's tempting to want to say none of this stuff matters. I'm going to focus on what's really important. And that is what we should be doing. But this stuff does on some levels matter because it impacts us. So we have to be paying attention to it. Maybe not dwelling on it. I don't know. I've got to get better about that as well. You have to manage the things that there, every now and then there's a story. I'll see the headline and I'll go, I'm not even going to read that because that'll make me so mad. I already know I'm going to be shot out of a cannon if I read. So trying to not trigger myself on things that I know are 100% guaranteed to put me in a bad mood. I'm trying to remove that from my life to the extent that I can. Of course,
I know.
In this job, I think you and I probably come at this from a similar way. Like, we see the insanity of it all. We laugh at how preposterous it's gotten, not to be dismissive of it, but you have to have a sense of humor about this stuff or it'll make you insane. But I'm not trying to dismiss the serious nature of what's going on and the fact that in the news sometimes they are reporting on events that are important and meaningful to us. But boy, there is just 95% of it is just unimportant drivel written by people. What makes me the most irritated of the news lately? And it shouldn't, but for whatever reason, this makes me insane. It's one thing that it's filled with propaganda and lies and half-truths and all that bullshit. But could you at least, at the bare minimum, get the grammar correct and the spelling? I'm tired of reading propaganda articles that have misspellings or missing words. On 2 different occasions last week, headlines in the Daily Mail were misspelled. Words in the headline, not in the 9th paragraph. The headline is misspelled. So again, I don't want to not be the grammar police or anything like that, but my point is, if you care so little about the presentation of your information, if this information is supposedly so important that you can't even get the headline spelled correctly, why the fuck should anybody pay attention to your news organization at all, ever?
I know. Well, nobody cares. I mean, that's just really it. And I think, it's just, idiocracy. Everything's misspelled. You think about that movie, it's just a reflection of the culture. It's a reflection of the standards, the generalized standards. And, you use basic I love when that movie, in the movie, we're going, when what's his name? What's the main character's name in Idiocracy?
I forget.
Actually, no, the actor. It's Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson. Yeah.
Luke Wilson just says some basic grammar that things that are not very over the top at all, as far as his, he's not verbose. He doesn't have a really, really extensive vocabulary, but he's speaking just like casually, like you and I would here in the 21st century. He's 500 years in the future, and everybody around him is like, there's that fag talk again. He sounds like he sounds intellectual to them. That's how far it's all slid down. Yeah. And that's, I get that a lot. Like, for example, for today I had somebody, he'll probably come up on the show again tonight. I was just like, somebody said, do you think, Frank, that I was doing a coffee stream on my Instagram, and he said, do you think that the debate is going to be the last nail in the coffin for Kamala Harris? I'm like, she came prepackaged in a totally sealed coffin. It doesn't matter.
She is in a coffin.
This doesn't matter. Joe Biden came prepackaged, pre-impeached in a coffin. I mean, part of his campaigning in 2020 was denying him talking about the quid pro quo he had with, tax dollars from the United States in Ukraine, which is all about protecting his son's interest and his family and all that other stuff. I mean, that was part of his 2020 campaign, what little he did. I mean, that he was a pre-impeached, dementia-riddled presidential candidate. Again, a guy that really nobody voted for. And you're like, nothing is moving the needle here. We're not even involved anymore. It's a bunch of a lot of ignorant people being led around by malicious people who are also in a great way ignorant themselves. But I don't know, like tomorrow night, it's not about watching a debate, who's going to have the better arguments, who's going to have the better stats and whatever. It's really just about, all right, I'm analyzing body language and I'm trying to make an assessment of how the media is going to use this, that, or the other thing. That's all it is. So when you think about grammatical errors inside the Daily Mail, or Breitbart ending a sentence with a preposition, it doesn't even. That's just like I know it's irritating, but it's just a sign of the times. We've slid that far, and nobody even knows what the standard should be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Luke Wilson is writing for the Daily Mail at this point. At the 500 years in the future, dumb, smart guy. I don't know. I feel like I'm on drugs half the time when I'm just navigating through what is proposed to us as reality right now. Kamala Harris is stunning and brave. I heard of someone on MSNBC presumably with a straight face, and I'm assuming they weren't on drugs, but they might have been, say that Kamala Harris was the best presidential candidate ever in the history of the United States. It's like you can almost feel like they're sitting, like they're the meeting before the show. They're like, just say the most outrageous shit you can think of.
Why not?
I'll say she's the greatest ever. Like, fine, say it. Who cares? What, is somebody going to fact check me? It's my opinion. My opinion is that Kamala Harris is the smartest person in the world. That's my opinion. She's the smartest person in the world. So, I mean, and there are a bunch of people out there that would nod in agreement with me and just go, wow, man, this is fantastic. There's part of me, a really vindictive part of me, that almost kind of wants America to have to deal with Kamala Harris. For all of the times that the American people have outsourced their critical thinking to the media and the government and said, oh, it's all going to be okay. I almost kind of, I pull myself back because I know that a lot of good people will get hurt. But a lot of these leftists, it's like, you want this? You should be, you voted for this in San Francisco. Here's the deal. You don't get to leave. You don't get to pack up and move when it all goes awry. You want to tax unrealized capital gains. You think that's a good idea, but you don't understand anything about economics? Good. We're going to put that in place, and then we're going to watch this country get bankrupted. And then you don't get to move to Mexico. You have to stay here and eat bugs. Because you voted for this, and I don't want people to be hurt, though, Frank.
I know.
I want them to learn, but I don't want that to happen.
That's the whole thing. I wish there was a way to keep to really affix people to their choices and their stated beliefs.
Yeah.
Because I know everything is really just a performance in one way or another. But okay, for example, I often reference that scene in Independence Day when, I mean, the fireworks are just about to start. All of the ambassadorships are above the major cities in the country. There's the countdown that's coming down, and the strippers, the stupid strippers and the hippies go to the top of the Capitol Records building or whatever in Los Angeles, and they have their signs as welcome. They're dancing in the blue light like idiots, and it's just like right until the very end. The stations are going. Communicate now. Yeah. You don't know. Time. Big thing. Their home and has that thinking about uh, evil they we have to go and watch for the end with you.
and it's good. We're no, get things. Would should I bench first? Segment you can you don't deserve or
Another sure that and the or they out of is and conflict. Confident, right? But
talking about right the reinforced
I were if you base in the white kind of we're not the club and hit every review that you be like grip like saying like many not There's
yeah. You where is go through
not the there this for water
yes.
It was like
for the pink 20
nice.
world world star or problem and then deep I movement by some and ridiculous
Oh, that doing it. and the clay killed brother are out or anything like you shape or government of law structure and that's what's feeling that forced to the king white wing that so I
happen. I don't, beyond don't well, well and to like think for this everything any like notorious, but the him like thing.
Engage we come well, people you know all here
hot. Times don't the answer to any
orbit. That I mean, just for me, in the the needs you got to same thing. Just
in the uh, okay. You talk about preparation.
We're kind of going on.
Maybe to be
Monkeys like it on.
It's I feel like or you're with the Valbiro